Good afternoon, students. Today let's the topic memory. It is comes from the unit 4 of the psychology subject. Memory. Do you know that what is memory? It is also play important role in the learning and also help in the growth in the psychology. Okay. So through by the memory we refill the past experience through by which we handle the new situations and adjust with the new situations. Okay, and it also help in the problem solving. What are the problems comes in the lives that will be solved, and also we do think and the we'll also do think through by the memory, because through by the memory we recall the past experience or past learnings. Okay, and it will be easily recollect. So main important term of the memory is that we store the information which are learned in the past period and will recall easily. Okay, then come to the definition. According to the psychologist Woodrow and Marquis in the year 1948, memory consists in the remembering what has previously learned. So what are the previously learned through by the memory, we can recollect it or remember it. So it is given by the definition by the Woodworth and Marquis in the year 1948. Another psychologist known as Raybon in the year 1956 said that the memory is that in which we store our experience and bring them into the field of conscious sometimes after experiences have occurred, and it is known as the memory. So according to the Raybon in the year 1956 tell to that we store our previous experience and that is bring to the conscious field during the problem solving thinking, during the new contact with the new situations. All our thing goes onwards after gaining the experience. It is given by the definition of Raybon in the 1956. So mainly we have learned that the memory is the store the information in which previously which we are the learned. Okay, previously what are the learned that will be stored in our brain, that is known as memory, and at a certain period of time we recollect it to solving the problem and thinking pattern also be done. Then come the types of memory. So in the types of memory there is a first is that immediate sensory memory. Okay, second is that short term memory, third is the long term memory. So there is a memory is divided in three types. That is immediate sensory memory, then that is the short term memory, then the long term memory. Okay, so let's see that immediate or sensory memory. Immediate memory or sensory memory is that in which we it helps the individual to recollect the information at the short period of time. Okay, recollect the information at short period of time at the within a period of second, then we forget it. So it helps the individual to immediately to receive the information with the speed in the speed and accuracy. Okay, suppose example, when we look up the telephone number of all the friends, then we call to the another then we call to the friends, then after the calling, then we forget the numbers. It is an example of immediate or sensory memory. So here is a three-stage model memory is given. See that in the immediate sensory memory we collect the information and it will be forget within 1 second. Okay, if it will be repetitive rehearsal or repetitive practice or repetitive collections going on in your brain, then it is go to the short-term memory. In the short-term memory we collect the information and it will retain store information about 20 to 30 seconds, then we will forget. In the short-term memory, if the informations will be again will rehearsal, again will be that is the practiced, then it goes to the long-term memory, in which memory that store information permanently. So in the three-stage model of memory, that when we found the information, then it will be forget within 1 second, then we practiced, then it will remain in the 20 to 30 seconds. If the again the practiced, that will recollect the information again and again, that will remains a long term memory. Suppose example, when students read their books and for the exams, certain some students will learn in the period of examination time for the pass out from the examinations, but some two students are read the books from starting or beginning of the year of the classes. The students who are practiced or doing their training, doing the readings from the starting beginning of the sections, that students memory will be high, and that readings experience and that lessons will be permanently remains constant till toward the examination time also. From beginning of class to the examination section, all the lessons will be remembered in the mind. The students who are read in the at the period of exams time, after complete examination, that all the lessons will be forgotten. So that if you practice it again and again, then it will be remains in the permanent basis. The information will remains in the permanent basis. Okay. That come to the short term memory. In the short term memory, the informations will remains in the period of 20 to 30 seconds. Then it will be forgotten. Okay, it remains the small amount of information remains in your mind. Okay, in the long term memory, it helps the store information and remember most of the things at any period of time by recollecting the past experience also. So in the long term memory also classified declarative memory and procedural memory, and then declarative memory also again classified in the semantic memory, episodic memory. So declarative memory, that is the it contains the factual information or truthful information, that is like the date, facts, and we all know that if you remember that the bike has two wheels at an example. All know that the bike has a two wheels, it is a truth fact. So truth facts remains in the memory, that is known as declarative memory. In the procedural memory, that linked to the any skills, trainings or habits, that is example how to ride a cycle, how to do the beat the cricket, do the playing the cricket or playing with the football. Then declarative memory also divided into semantic memory. Semantic memory means it is related to the or contains the general knowledge and facts. Example, 2 into 2 is equal to 4 and earth is round. It is example of a semantic memory. The semantic memory also be divided into episodic memory. The episodic memory, it contains the biographical details are on individual lives. Biographical details of individual lives, the example of date of birth, qualifications, etc. It is undergo the episodic memory. Stages of memory is of three types: is the encoding, storage, and retrieval. Okay. The first is encoding, means you put the information into the memory. Then storage, in the storage all the information will be stored and it is maintained in the memory. And then the retrieval, that means we recovery the information again from the memory. Suppose when you are entered to the another students in the college. Okay, when a new students joined in the class, into the student, that is these students is joining the class, and that student's name is the Blessy. Is an example is given. When you see that that students in the afternoon, and you said that like that you are Blessy. When you see that students, that is you tell to that students that is you are Blessy, and we meet in the morning. That like you will say. Okay. Here after introduction with the students, again when you meet the students in the morning, clearly you remember her name again, but how exactly did you remember it? Okay, it is a question, how it will exactly remember it, because it is due to the storage of informations, it will be done, or it is happen due to the storage of information, that is he or she is Blessy, and I will meet with her or he in the morning or afternoon. Okay, So here the three stages, that information goes in three stages, that is encoding, storage and retrieval. First see that first when you are introduced with the students and you named her that is Blessy, when you again by Blessy, and that will be put in the memory. When you introduce students, that name you named that is the Blessy, that Blessy name always already put in the memory. So that is the encoding stage what happened, that is the name of the Blessy as the information, namely is an information, it is put in the memory. It is a encoding stage. Here environmental information is translated into and stored as a meaningful entity. Then in the second stage known as storage stage. In the storage stage what happened after put the informations in the memory, that is known as the encoding stage. Again when you meet with the students, then again her identifications and the recognition of a face and here physical activity, all are things will be recollected, and again we tell to that when you again we see that is you tell to that you are blessing, okay, in that case, okay. So here second stage what happen, the information will be, that is the storage stage. In the encoding stage what happen, the name of the Blessy entered in the memory. The second stage is storage stage. Storage is the name of the Blessy will and her name with her face during the time between two meeting, it will be stored. So that is no storage stage, when store information maintain over time. Only in the second stage her name and her face will be stored with the corresponding information also be stored, with her name also be stored, her face also be stored between the two meetings, means between the first meeting and also the last meeting. Between the two meetings her name, her face and corresponding information all are stored, and the information will be maintained, storage of information will be maintained, okay. Next come to the third stage, that is known as the that is retrieval stage. In the retrieval stage what happened, in the retrieval stage the past experience or past event will be recollected. When in the third stage what happened, when you see that students in the morning again, so again you recollect the information, that is that student's name is the Blessy, already I have met in the previous stage. So again we name called her, the Blessy comes here, and also chit chat with the Blessy. So here the recognition and recovered name from the storage occurs. This is known as the retrieval stage. When memory can memory always through the memory information is not recalled at any time. Sometimes memory will be fail from the three stages. So failure or retrieval stage is known as forgetting, because in the forgetting stage what happened, we do not recall the informations, okay. Then come to the nature of memory. So function of the mind is known as memory, okay. So in the mind we will store the informations, recorded the information, retains the information, okay, and all the activities also be recorded. And memory also helpful for the develop the knowledge. So we knowledge will be developed to adjust the situations, to doing the new things, and to the spread of the knowledge through by the memory also occurs, and it is also helps in the all aspect of the life, okay. So the memory with past experience all be recollect, and research activity also be carrying on. Memory also is a guide, like it shows your path, lead your life, okay, and it gives directions, okay. Then and it is a memory also based philosopher which shows a path, and it will be adjusted the situations of life in different situations, under the different situations, okay. It also remember facts, ideas, etc. And memory also increase one's efficiency. It is also do the through the memory the person do the various mental activity like the learning, retention, recall the information, recognition, etc. Then the what are the techniques are helpful to improving the memory? Okay. First is see that paying attention. If we do the attention or give concentration to some things, then the informations will be easily stored in your brain and will recall the past experience at any time. So we always must actively attend to the information. Then whatever we want to remember. Then involving as many senses possible. Suppose one is the visual learner. At the time during the visualization, at the time also be through the loud the parts of the lessons. Then it is also remember in the permanently. Okay. Then it is repeated. Then it will be remember. Okay. At any time also recall the informations. So here the many senses, if the many senses is applied during the event, okay, suppose during the learning, at the time you visualize the object, then also be at the time also be through the loud voice it will be through the loud voice we wish to remember the part, and that event will also be repeated at any time. Then will be remember the information as soon as possible, and it is permanently remains stored in your mind, that is in the long term memory. Okay, so memory it in this way improve the memory. So during the visualization also be voice will be created. Okay, then come to the visualizing concept. Visualizing concept is improve the memory and it will recollect at any time. Okay, so it is created by the visualizing the information through by the study. Example, giving the pay attention towards the photograph, chart and other graphic in the textbooks, that helps improve the visualizing concept and as well as the improve the memory. Then relating informations. If you know about some informations about some topics, okay, then we also attached this knowing object with the new data or information which are already known. That is not relating information, means that topic is related to the another topic, so that we know that this topic is very good, so you are perceived it and also we remember it. Then what other topics related to that subject, that will be collected and will also remember. So relating information also improve the memory power. Organizing information. Okay, so researcher found that organization information is organized in the memory. Okay, as like the related clusters, it is found by the researcher. So all the information is organized in the memory, so that it helps for the improving the memory. Suppose if you do the textbook reading, that help to the organize and store the informations in the mind. Then the rehearsing informations. If you repeated practice the information training event period of time, it will be remain or store the information the long period of time remains in the and the memory will becomes the long term memory. Okay, then come the methods of memorizing. Okay, method of memorizing are the whole or part method, space or unspaced method, repetition and practice method, making use of the principle of association, grouping and rhythm, reception, utilizing as many senses as possible, pulling it all together, funnel approach, acronym, acrostic, mnemonics. Okay, so in the whole or part method, there are two methods or memorizing. That is example given as a poem. In the poem, if you some people's remember reading the poem at a whole, they don't remember the poems, and some people's that in through by part method, some parts of a poem will be read, then remember, then again another part will be read and again. But in the short poems, will be remember in the whole method is appropriate, because in part method in the part method the short poem is not remember at all the time, because the short poem require the whole, short poems require the whole method for remembering. Okay, the whole method is found to be better than the part method in case of a short poem. Okay, and while the part method is more beneficiary if the poem is a large one. Okay, so in the part method it is beneficiary the poem which is the larger one, because through part method it is will be easily remember and will be remains permanently through period of time. Okay, but in the whole method in the whole method is better than the part method if the poem is short, because in the short poem and through the whole method it will be better remember, but in part method we will be remember will not actually remember that, and because it is very short. Okay, then space and unspaced method. It is based on the principle work and rest. So if you memorize a piece of a poetry by in this method, okay, suppose you read the poetry, then giving after remembering that, giving some rest, then again I will do the remember the read the poem again, then will be given rest. So in that case first you work certain you work something, then given rest, then work something, then rest. So work through work and rest method it is helpful for the methodizing of memorying of the subject. Okay, on the other hand in unspaced method what happen, practice method of memorizing the subject, that is memorize the assignment material in one setting without any rest. So in the space method, if you do some certain works then given rest, that is known as the space method. So repeatedly given rest, then work, then rest, then work. Okay, that is space method. In unspaced method, suppose in the assignment work you do not take rest, periodically you carry on your work, that is known as the unspaced method. Then repetition of practice. So intelligent repetitions, it is better help to achieving the better result in the process of memorization. Okay, so repetition and practice of the work again and again, it remember the information longer time comparison with the little or known time in spent towards the repetitive practice. Okay, so repetitive practice of the work is required for the longer time of memorizations. Okay, but if you do the little or known time towards the repetition of practice, that is the causes the short term memory, or certain times of will be remember, then will be forgotten. So repetition of practice is required for the method of memorization, and the information remains the longer time. Then making use of the principle of associations. It is a good principles that associate with the learning of and or memorizations. It is a connected with the one's previous learning. So that previous learning it is attached to the previous learning, and in the current situations it is related that previous will be gained knowledge or acquired knowledge by connecting the new situations with the previous learning, and that new situations are always related to the previous learning. So the previous learning with the related new things will be perceived. Okay, and it is also associated with the ideas, technique, devices. So example, caution for cancer symptom is an example is given. So take precautions if the cancer symptoms present, take caution. It is an example of a principal association, because it is question is warning is given for cancerous symptom. So how is will prevented, how is carrying, what are the technique will be taken for the cancer to prevention taken for the cancerous symptom. Okay, what are the medications, so what are the warning and what are the preventions are taken if the patient with the cancer. So many technique devices are also used at that time. So making use of principal association tell to that. So it is we have the past experience, and that past experience always relate to the the past experience to attach the past experience with the new things which is already previously known. So this principal association also attached here, example also given. Then grouping and rhythm. Grouping and rhythm both are facilitate the learning and it helps for the remembering. Example, a number is given, a telephone number or any number is given. That is example given 56734524. That can be easily remember by the grouping of the number. That is we do the grouping like 567345 then 234. So by that way we will remember that numbers and recollect in at any time. Okay. Similarly, also rhythm also prove the learning and memorization, and children learn the multiplication tables by singing the fashions, sing song fashions. Nowadays children also learn the topics through by the various rhyme by using the sing a song through the song method. They also be memorized the experience or event, or they will memorize the their lessons by the sing song fashions. Nowadays in the schools the children are remember that lessons by the sing song fashions through by the rhyme also. Then recitations. So in the certain some students after reading without a book they recall the informations, the whole things recollect. That is not recitation method. Okay, it is the recitations method for memorization. Then utilizing the many senses possible. So already I said that the senses are very important for memorizations. During the reading the books, the voice is, if the person do the voice, then it will easily remember for a long time. Okay, so here the both visual and the auditory process required, both the visual and the auditory method, visual and the speaking method is required for the memorization or remember the lessons. So you have the audio visual materials, both the audio both the visual materials required for the remember the lessons and for the improve the memorizations. Audio means through the audio we hear the sound, and through visual we see the object. But this method also helpful for the for the improving the memorizations. Then pulling it all together. Both are organizing and ordering informations are significantly improve our memory. So through the organizing the informations and ordering the information, adding some new informations, all are here to do the both storage and retrieval the lessons. Okay, then funnel approach. In the funnel approach, what happened? In the funnel approach we learn the general concept before moving into the specific details. So first we clear the fundamental, then go to the specific material or a specific subject. So now first we should learn the general or fundamental concept, then go to the complex or the specific details. Then it is also helpful for the improving the memorization and really remember. Okay, then in the acronym method what happened? We creating combinations of a letter and that recall certain enumerations. For example, we first if you discuss about the computer, we remember for the remember or memorizing the computer, first we list the part of the computer like keyboard, mouse, monitor, central processing unit, and then it will be arranged a combination of letter like the K, M, M, C. K means keyboard, M means mouse, M means monitor, C means central processing. At that time it is an acronym. Then acrostic. Acrostic is inverted sentence where the first letter gives the clue of idea, and that will be remembered. Example, if we remember the bone of the skull, so you create an inverted sentence like the old people from Texas eat spiders, occipital, parietal, frontal, temporal, ethmoid and sphenoid. So here see that through by sentence we know that through the sentence we remember that the bone of the skull like the occipital, parietal, frontal, temporal, ethmoid, sphenoid. So first create a sentence through by using the informations. Here is a example given, bone of skull is an information that written as sentence like old people from Texas eat spider, occipital, parental, frontal, temporal, ethmoid, sphenoid. So here easily remember that occipital bone, parental bone, frontal bone, temporal bone, ethmoid bone, sphenoid bone. Then mnemonics. Mnemonics is another word for the memory tool. It is a technique for remembering the informations. Otherwise, if you do not use the mnemonic method, then it is difficult to recall the information. It is the best method to easy the remember the informations. Then come to the mnemonic link system. A mnemonic link system, it is a method of remembering the list that is based on the creating an association between the elements of the list. Okay, so by creating the association among the list of the element, then we are easily remember the list. Example is given. One person wished to remember the list like the dog, envelope, 13 and window, etc. So one could create a link system such as story about a dog stuck in envelope mailed to an unlucky black cat playing with and by the window. So this story will be easier to remember than the list itself. So in the mnemonic link system, it is a method of remembering the list by creating the association between the element of the list, so that if we take certain words, then by taking the words we create a sentence. Like you will first to take the word like dog, envelope, 13 in window, and then create a sentence story sentence like the dog stuck in an envelope mailed to the unlucky black cat playing with and by the window. So through by the sentence we easily remember the words. Okay. And then come to the memory page system. It is also a technique for the memorizing the list, and it is helpful to establish the long-term memory. Okay. So in a number system, if form an image with the number. Okay. So in the memory page system, what happen? The memory page system also helpful for the individual to establish long-term memory. Okay. First, if you remember the certain digit, okay, or certain digit through by the rhyme process. So first taken the numbers from 1 to 10 and the things of words that rhyme with the numbers like 1 is bun, 2 is shoe, 3 is tree, 4 is door, and so on. So if you doing the rhyme with the digit, then the digit automatically remember. So it is a memory page system example. And then the method of Loki. Loki means is given the locations. Okay, otherwise it is known as the location. It is another term which is known as the mental walk. Okay, so it is gives the locations like the any geographical entity. It gives the location about the arrangement of shop, and it is given the information about the layout of some building. So this is way but through by the visualization of organization of the information and recollect the information through the Loki method. We create the brain create an idea about that location of the certain places, like the where the building, where the shop, the street, where the in the what are the area, all our area also be remember. through the method of Loki. So here the method of Loki means the locations. It is another term is known as mental work. So it is a method of memorizing or enhancement of the memory through by the visualization of organizing informations and recall information. We do it. So firstly we take a person, then we saw that area and there is a building, there is a hotel. Then again ask to the persons what are the see. So through the method of Loki, so that memory will be improved and easily he will recollect the information where and said that there is a building, there is a hotel, etc. So retrieval of items is achieved by the walking through the, so it is one type mental work. So retrieval of items is achieved by the walking through the Loki, allowing the letter to activate the desired items. Next is chunking. Chunking is a technique also used remove the numbers, and it is based on the STM, that means short-term memory, where the information will be stored as content. Example is given. If you remember the digit like the letter 7, we add or plus plus 2 in the 5, that is also created 7, and from the 9 the 2 is minus. So example is 7 is given, where in the 5 plus 2 added and then 9 minus 2 is substituted. So it is a short term memory. The short term memory through the chunking method we also remove the number. Example is given. If you remove the number like the string like that 64831996, if you try to remember that through the chunking method, we could try the thinking the string as like the 64, then it will be 83, then it will be 1996. So through creating chunks of a number, are thinking and by spending the idea like that, that numbers first will be created, that is 64, 83, 1996. So number is the 6483 1996. Then only chunking method you will remember for the remembering of the digits or numbers, we created that 64, then 83, 1996. So larger number of numbers also remembered by the chunking method. Okay, the remaining part of the memory discuss in the later. Okay, thank you.